Well, all right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Game Vault. A little bit of news here for you today. Okay, to beefy with the Game Vault, we're going to talk once again about Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Yasuke. So, if you're not tired of it, let's cue up the music and we'll get right to it. So we got a rumor going around. Assassin's Creed Shadows originally featured male Japanese main character, and game could be delayed even further. Now, if this is true, and the reasons for a longer delay are true, I've heard some buzzing, this would be a major, major, major victory in the culture war right now. Let's read this article a little bit together. New rumor for Assassin's Creed Shadows claims the game originally featured a male Japanese main character and that the game could be delayed even further after the game's developer Ubisoft recently delayed it till February 2025. They did it at the same time they announced it might barely break even during its current financial year, and in a press release the company stated the company now expects net bookings of about 1.95 billion and around break even or non-IFRS operating income and free cash flow. Yikes. So it went on to announce the delay of Assassin's Creed Shadows and why it was doing so. While the game features complete, the learnings from Star Wars Outlaws release led us to provide additional time to further polish the title. This will enable the biggest entry in the franchise to fully deliver on its ambition, notably by fulfilling the promise of our dual protagonist adventure with Naoe and Yasuke bringing two very different gameplay styles. The company added, "We are departing from the traditional Season Pass model. All players will be able to enjoy the game at the same time on February 14th, and those who pre-order the game will be granted the first expansion for free. The game will mark the return of our new releases on Steam Day 1. So rumors are going around. I don't know if we're going to talk about this in the article and all, but I've been watching some videos, listening and reading and all that they might want to delay this further and bring back that Japanese protagonist. I mean, Ubisoft has fumbled the ball time and time and time again with this game, whether it be the wrong architecture, the stealing of signs, the horribly that little statue they made with the broken I can't remember what it's called. It's right there behind Yasuke, but it's busted. The only one that's standing is outside of Nagasaki. It was from when the U.S. bombed Japan. There's so much going on in this game that's terrible. Beyond the fact that Yasuke himself is the most obvious case of pandering ever in the history of video games. I mean, come on, dude. Really, just come on. Whether or not he was a samurai, a retainer, a real human being or not, it doesn't matter in the slightest bit. Making him the main character of the game was just flat out pandering of the lowest and saddest sort I have ever seen. It's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. But let's move on in this little article here. New rumor from YouTuber Endymion, who alleges to have spoken with a number of individuals at Ubisoft and who have worked for the company in the past, claims that the game could be delayed even further and that the game originally featured a male Japanese protagonist instead of Yasuke. Endymion shared, "My source told me, however, that they heard February 2025 is simply a placeholder release date as of now. Apparently this is because Ubisoft is scrambling and they need certain key talent in order to assist on a Q2 second quarter game release, which, if you don't know what that means, there's 4 quarters to a calendar year, so second quarter means Ubisoft has something that they think will hit that is coming out later in the year that they need help on. So because talent at the studio is working to make that future release come out more smoothly, Shadows is not being given the extra hands it kind of needs right now." Endymion then revealed that a source told him that the game originally featured a Japanese male protagonist. "I was also told when they originally saw the game there was indeed a male Japanese protagonist with their own finalized art and even animations. They don't know if this character will be reintroduced to replace Yasuke, but they are skeptical that Ubisoft will actually remove Yasuke altogether due to the whole political, backlash they'll get from journalists and so on," he added. Could it be worse than what they're getting now for putting him in there? This would be the ultimate test of a gaming company, right? If they were to pull Yasuke out whether they reduce his role significantly, make him a side character, give him one round of missions you run or something like that, relegate him to a little DLC type thing. I don't know anything. If they were to pull him out from the main protagonist slot and reintroduce that Japanese samurai, the male Japanese samurai, would be fantastic. It would be a huge, huge, huge victory in the culture war. And the tears would flow from gaming journalists. It would be a river that might drown us all. But fortunately, I can swim. How was that for drama? Yeah, it would be insanity. They would lose their minds. But sales would probably go through the roof for the game. Even if you don't like Ubisoft too much, even if you aren't an Assassin's Creed fan and all that, people will buy the game to claim victory and to be a part of this victory and to humiliate even further the journalists that have backed this whole Yasuke thing and right from the start and backed Ubisoft on all of this right from the start. They would feel betrayed. They would feel that knife slide right into their backs. And it would be glorious. It would really be glorious. It would be freaking hilarious, actually. So I would love to see them do it. Are they going to do it? I highly doubt it. I just don't see it happening. I think this late in the game, you'd have to change so much in the story. They may have a character model. They may have animations. But not everything's going to be polished the way Yasuke is. They probably don't have the lines read. They probably don't have somebody who's read all the lines for him in the game. And who knows, this is a huge game. Who knows how many lines there are? There's going to be hundreds and thousands of lines. I don't know. So it would be a significant delay. If they come in February and they say, you know what, this is going to be delayed even further till end of 2025, 2026, something like that, then I'd really consider that maybe they are going to remove Yasuke, and maybe they're going to make things right. Would I buy the game? That's a tough question right now. I'd have to see further what happens with this company in the near future, and a little bit further down the line. Are they going to start chopping off the heads of some of these people that don't belong in that company? Is Yves Guillemot going to stand down, and we're going to replace him with somebody who actually wants to make good games instead of virtue signal for the world to see and put out crap? I would consider it then. I would consider supporting it at that time. But I don't know right now. We have to see. So, and then Ubisoft could pull a fast one. They could say, you know what? Yeah, we did all this and all that, and then still release a piece of crap game with a whole bunch of woke garbage in it. It's just Yasuke isn't the main character. So, it's going to be a tough call here on this one. No matter what, it wouldn't be a pre-order, I'll tell you that. I don't think I'll ever pre-order from Ubisoft again, but yeah, I'd have to think about it. So anyway, next he shared details about the game. They did say that the game's first act is heavily story-driven until it eventually opens up to your more traditional open-world Ubisoft experience, and that the big hurdle here, if they were to remove Yasuke, would be to practically change almost everything about Act 1, so to speak, if they were to remove the character entirely. So they could remove Yasuke with this already done, but throwing this... So, could they remove Yasuke with this already done, but thrown aside a Japanese character? It's a big maybe. But they said they weren't sure of it yet, he said. He also told me they heard rumblings that Sweet Baby Inc. may have had a hand in Shadows, but they can't confirm 100% yet, so take that allegation with a huge, big, fat shot of skepticism right now, okay? As for when this Japanese male protagonist was sidelined, Endymion revealed the game did first include a male Japanese main character, but they were swapped sometime during 2020, according to my source, for Yasuke instead. When asked why Ubisoft chose Yasuke over this male Japanese character, Endymion revealed they said that Ubisoft was heavily influenced by the socio-political events of the time with stuff like, and no, I'm not kidding, George Floyd dying, the riots, and Black Lives Matter exploding in support. I've made George Floyd jokes from day one regarding this stupid-ass game. Even got I borrowed a picture somebody made of George Floyd in samurai armor for one of my, one of my thumbnails. So that's hilarious. That just goes to show you how vapid these women are that are running Ubisoft right now and making these games. How vapid, Oh, that's Black Lives Matter. Ooh. You bunch of twats. Anyway, he added, Ubisoft may have opted to include Yasuke in order to pander to identity politics because of Black Lives Matter. Furthermore, he stated that his source informed him that Ubisoft was horrified by the response to Yasuke from the fandom, and they actually thought including him would be a really big selling point for the game. They apparently believed by inserting Yasuke that they could garner and pander to the modern audience. Guess what, Ubisoft? If you haven't figured it out yet, the modern audience, though it does exist, only consists of about 5 or 6 dozen people, tops. You know, it's pretty small, and it's pretty pathetic, and it's not going to support your game. So anyway, interestingly, one of Endymion's sources also provided him information on why Ubisoft decided to delay the game. He shared the thing that actually spooked Ubisoft more than anything else was how Japan reacted to the one-legged Troy Gate figurine. That's what we were talking about earlier. Remember, that's the merchandise product where Yasuke and Naoi are standing on a symbol of Nagasaki, getting the atom bomb dropped on them. Yet these characters take place in Japan well before that even happens. And this culturally devastating piece that proved that Ubisoft was not adequate enough to make the game or really know anything about the time period. It led to the higher-ups admitting defeat and demanding that the game get a cultural do-over, if you will, he continued. They wanted things to be more authentic because the one-legged Torii Gate incident was so embarrassing and baffling that they didn't want anything else like that to happen again in their history. And there it is right there. Man, anyway, what's up with his eyes? I think he's high. Anyway, Endymion then shared why Ubisoft chose February 2025. Maybe it's Black History Month. If they mention that, I'm going to cry. Okay. As for now, what I'm being told is February 2025 is being chosen because Ubisoft believes there will be a AAA gaming drought around that time period, so they're hoping that they can capitalize by releasing Shadows then instead of November 15th, which it was original release date, even though there are plenty of games coming around that time like Monster Hunter Wilds will release in that same period. He then opined, which makes me believe Ubisoft will indeed push the game even further back than intended. He also shared that sources informed him that the rap music, which was featured in early promotional videos for the game, is being removed from the final product. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. That was a big bone of contention, okay? Because that was one of the most disgusting, pandering things I've ever seen or heard in a video game. Here we are, feudal Japan, black protagonist in a samurai game for whatever reason. From Africa, not from America, right? He's from Africa, you know, with modern day hip-hoppy rap type music playing when he goes into combat. That is the absolute worst. I mean, wow. Talk about tone deaf. Talk about tone deaf. Endymion said one of the things for sure getting removed from Shadows, according to my sources, is indeed the rap hip-hop music for Yasuke. Apparently, Ubisoft brought out a questionnaire, and they were unanimously told that the rap music was totally wrong and completely unneeded, and that it was actually offensive that Ubisoft believed Yasuke needed a hip-hop battle theme in a game that was set well before such music existed, and it was only implemented because Yasuke was black. So that's going to be gone for sure. That is one of the most racist things I've ever seen in my life when they did that. I about died. They're also going to be removing dialogue from the game that, according to my source, told me that it would actually enrage players if they heard it, he said. I wasn't given concrete examples of what kind of dialogue, but the source assumed it may have been Yasuke saying some sort of socio-political pandering nonsense about how he was sold by white men or something, and that he hates white men and white supremacy must be abolished and such. They should leave that in there. They should just leave that in there. If you put it in there, own it. You know what I mean? Release the game right now. Let's see what you guys did. I want to see what's under the hood of this game. Because, man, it sounds like a steaming pile of horse shit. Anyway, they're also removing this because, of course, if that were a game, it would be absolutely highlighted and used to detract even more from people supporting the game in the future, he shared. That's comical. So what do you make of these rumors from Endymion and the sources regarding Assassin's Creed Shadows? I will tell you what, I'll be shocked beyond belief if they get rid of Yasuke. I'll be shocked if they even lessen his role. But I don't think it's impossible at this point. The backlash has been immense. And, you know, it's coming from all sides. And I don't think there's a way they can release this game right now that it will succeed. You know, I think it's going to be even worse than Star Wars Outlaws. And Ubisoft knows if they tank another big game, a big multi-$100 million plus title, I don't know. There's going to be some heads rolling, and not the lower guys, but the higher guys. You know, the guys that higher up making all these decisions and greenlighting these projects and helping push them in the direction that they've been going. I just don't, you know. It would be a major victory, and I would laugh. Oh God, I would laugh if they did. If they remove Yasuke, I would die laughing. Would I buy the game again? I don't know. I'd be partially inclined to, just to support them for what they did and that change they made. But I'm still not a fan of Ubisoft, and that would just be the first step on a long walk to redemption, in my opinion, for these guys. Anyway, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.